Pale Nation Hangout number 471. Humble apologies to anybody who actually had to wait for me to get everything organized over here. Yet more technical issues. V will be joining us at some point tonight, and I don't have the GIMP theme song ready for Rearson tonight, but Rearson is here with us. So Rearson, feel free to introduce yourself.
Not that I'm complaining that you don't have that GIMP song ready, because I'm happy that you don't. Anyway. Oh, well, hello everyone who will be listening at some point in time. I've known this turkey for a long fucking time, and
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
I hope you don't. I'll keep my thoughts to myself, and I'll just leave it at that. Back to you.
All right. So for those of you who don't, wow, we've got 2 listeners already. For those of you who don't know, I am in order of number of subscribers: Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, MGTOW TV, Bradion, and YouTube. YouTube seems to be exploding at the moment. I have gone from like 80 to like 180, mid 80s to 106 over the course of like 2 months. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's caused that, but that's exactly what's going on. I am also at Twitch and Kick. I am also at Minds, Gab, MeWe, Facebook, Getter. I was doing True Social for a while, but I just find that site really difficult to navigate. Other site news, yeah, we will be doing 470. If possible, I will be doing 472 tomorrow. Just giving you a heads up on 472. 472, there is a very strong women being stupid component to the show. Rearson has seen the topics. Yeah, all of that stuff on there literally happened.
I don't even know where to start with that one.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to cover. We've also got the Australian and Brown University shootings on there. Yeah, that's going to be a real heavy show. Like I said, V will join us at some point, or maybe he won't. Either way, we're good. So the topics for tonight are as follows. And of course, topic number 1: Twitter starts lowering the boom on foreign trolls inserting themselves into the American debate. Topic number 2: Democrat fraud scheme unearthed in Minnesota. Topic number 3: Star Wars. Star Wars is at it again. Oh my God! All right. Star Wars Visions caught using content from Dark Jedi fan film Dark Jedi.
Control. Okay, I must learn control.
Control, Padawan. You must learn control. Okay, and B, Amandla Stenberg goes dark after Acolyte creator blames fans. That would be Leslie Headland for the failure of the series. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just going to say this right now, and I will say it again when we get to the topic number 3. If you say something so stupid that even the actress who was the lead in that movie kind of quietly fades into the background, you really have screwed up immensely. Topic number 4, and yeah, we've been doing a lot of Candace Owens stuff. Melodrama between Candace Owens and Turning Point USA. Candace Owens will also be on 472. And topic number 6, J6 pipe bomb suspect arrested. Here, I will very quickly, before I put Rearson's avatar on here, I will show you this vicious, evil, white supremacist, hangs out with the Klan, embraces them wholly, and embraces black hate totally. Here's his photo. You might want to be sitting down for this one.
That ain't going to fit there, boy. Boy,
Look at that! Look at that white supremacist, man! Holy crap! I mean, he just reeks white power and white hate. And black hate. I mean, look at him. Like, he's obviously MAGA, right? Like,
he looks like he looks like what Sean Combs would look like if he was normal and a little bit older. Just saying. And he ain't diddling little boys either. Oh, and on that note,
yeah, you went there. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna.
And once again, folks, what standard we have at Red Pill Nation Hangout? We have no standards at all.
Here's the really weird thing, and we're kind of getting off topic here. But I mean, that hater that I had, who would report my videos every once in a while, haven't dealt with him since July.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's V. All right, haven't dealt with him since July. So something. Well, you know what it's like with people like that. They, this shows up in other aspects of their life. So I'm having to imagine he's going through a difficult period in his life, which I have absolutely no sympathy for. But I mean, yeah, karma has probably caught up to him, and he's probably facing some consequences for some other action that he's done, which is unfortunate because when I hit my running subtotal right now on all my counts is 983.
How come you can't ever say anything nice about me?
Since when was this whole topic about you?
Well, I'm here now, so it must be about me.
Yeah. Did you remember to get out of your onesie this time? Okay, that's all I need to. That's all I need to know. Did you get the hell out of that goddamn onesie? All right,
Well,
that was bloody embarrassing. Okay.
I can tell you what I do have. I have my original headphone adapter, made by Apple instead of freaking Walmart, and it works. Oh my god! So yeah.
All right. So V, introduce yourself.
I am the man with the master plan. I'm the man from across the seas and across the lands. I come from around the way today to be on the show, to be with you guys, to let you know that I can freestyle right here and do anything else I want from here for another mile. All right?
Okay.
That's the way it happens, bro.
Sure.
But I've been practicing. Yeah, well, I'm a great songwriter, but as far as freestyling, I never knew I had the talent. So, anyways,
Okay,
let's get the show going.
All right, so before we get started tonight on topic number 1, I just some of these are PSA, some of these are funny. Gonna start the show with with something that I took off of Instagram. It's around ChatGPT. It's also a very interesting topic, and hopefully it'll give you some instructions on how to deal with what ChatGPT is doing. So here we go.
This is crazy. So ChatGPT is now sending all of your conversations to the police. But don't freak out because I'm going to show you how you can prevent this and protect all of your data inside of ChatGPT. The first thing you're going to want to do is click your name in the bottom left, click settings, and then come to data controls. And then you're going to want to make sure that improve the model for everyone is turned off. You're then going to want to go to your shared links and make sure that all of these are deleted. You're then going to want to come over to personalization and make sure all 3 of these are turned off if you don't want ChatGPT referencing previous chats. And lastly, you can use ChatGPT's temporary chat feature. Think of this as an incognito mode for ChatGPT where your chat won't appear in the chat history and won't be used to update ChatGPT's memory or train its models. You can turn this on by coming up here and clicking this button. And the last tip is to not say anything to ChatGPT that you wouldn't want to become public. For more AI and ChatGPT tips, make sure to follow me.
That you wouldn't. ...
Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's get this party started. So yeah, with me tonight is Bajinder. Bajinder is an online Twitter troll who's been inserting himself and trolling the hell out of Twitter everywhere. And because I don't give a goddamn flying fuck about political correctness or anything like that, I'm just going to have him come on up. Bajinder, how are you feeling? Oh, I'm feeling very, very, very angry. I cannot. I used to make a decent living trolling people on Twitter, but I cannot do that anymore. I'm running out of curry for my family. Oh, sorry. See, so you were like trolling people online, were you from India, pretending to be an American? Yes, I was. I was making good living at it too, pretending I was an American. I don't know what to do now. I'm going to have to go back and make a living on Fiverr. And here's the thing: I can't make any money on my fake U.S. political account either because it's been called as well. Well, I'm really sorry, Bajinder. I really am, but I'm not sorry. Like maybe you should discover things like outhouses and not pooping on the beach. Just saying.
Or you can dig a hole in the ground,
I
poop in
can-
that.
Oh, you went there. You so went there. Oh,
Well, hey,
That's
Ken, can I say
exactly.
very quickly, you gotta help me out here because you watched the video. I don't know what the hell you watched. Please say the name of the video so I can watch it with you.
Okay, well, the funny videos, like the commercial stuff, I don't have. I didn't send to you because I only got those at the last minute.
Oh,
When I
okay.
actually get to the topics, then I'll be able to send you some stuff here. Did someone message me? Yeah, no, Roger's around.
Yeah, where the hell's
Oh,
Roger?
yeah, get a hold of Roger last, see if he wants to jump in or not. If he doesn't, that's okay. So yeah, so we getting back to the original topic. Yeah, so there was a discovery. They put something on Twitter that revealed the accounts of all of these fake political posters and cultural posters and whatnot, and all of these trolls. And again, right? This is not just limited to Twitter, but I mean, like the ones on Twitter were coming mostly from India, and apparently, although you won't necessarily get rich doing it, you can make some fairly decent money by Indian standards by doing the stuff online. And the thing about these is that some of them have really committed to it, and you really can't tell unless you actually look. Um, Although once you know what to look for, it's like like these are the idiots that have been helping perpetuate the dead internet theory. Now, I'm going to point something out here. It is not just India that is doing this. I am currently looking at a channel that I follow on YouTube called China Uncensored. Uh, by the way, China is nowhere near as good. Doing nowhere as well as they would like you to think. But what if you go to China Uncensored or you go to these YouTube accounts in the West that are critical of China and you post up anything on there, you will get these bot accounts that will come in and they will make one snarky post and then they will leave and they won't ever respond. And they're easy to spot, because you go over to them and they've got these list compilations that just don't make any sense. And they have low to no followers and they're not following anybody. And of course, their content is usually so out of touch with the reality of the situation that you really can't even tell what there is. And there's one dude, and I swear to God, this guy actually, like, just so you know that the willful delusion doesn't just happen in the West. Like, this guy posted up on a YouTube comment that I made. He literally had the nerve to say, post up with a straight face, that, oh no, everything is fine here in China, and yeah, I live here in China, and this is not the case, and no, there's not all these missing people, and blah 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 blah. Because this is about all of those those people in China, like the missing people in China that there were underreported stuff, and oh no, there's nobody living in China living in poverty, even though I've seen videos of people living under underpasses in China. And by the way, the level of poverty there makes most of what's going on in the West look mild by comparison. And he said it with a straight face. So I went over to his page, right? Because this guy composed a really long response, right? For a guy who took the time to compose a really long response, very recent account, no followers, no viewing list, nothing. Like, you couldn't even respond to him there, right? So yeah, it's not just India that's doing this. Like I said, we will be covering this particular topic in a little bit more deeper later on in the show tonight. At this point, though, a lot of foreign, like in particular in India, like the whole concept of the dead internet theory and bot accounts that just post up just for the hell of it, a lot of that appears to be coming from India, and it is really prevalent on Twitter. I'm just wondering why it took. I mean, I thought that Elon Musk got rid of most of these bot accounts when Elon Musk first took over Twitter, but apparently he didn't. So, I mean, he's still got some work cut out for him. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Well, if the if the internet is dead, then why the hell am I paying for multiple internet services? Why is there money flying out of that account? Why do we have these rich corporations if the internet is dead? Is there a different internet for every? See, this is my theory. There might be a different internet for every person who pays for a service. Maybe some sort of virtualized, a thing for every person. But the internet is not dead. It may be truly diversified and compartmentalized, but it's there, obviously. We make our connections, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't like that. That's just way too paranoia for me to talk about a dead internet. I don't know. Especially for all the stuff that I've downloaded and pirated. I don't know. Who knows? If somebody's made an internet that's all just for me, well, I'm going to say, that's very nice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I get to see Miss Sweeney in her in her jeans, and I get to watch the new Dragon Ball and do a little bit of video gaming. Hey, that's great. I'm in hog heaven. And I'm pretty sure Rifshin has his own internet. It's probably a gimp suit. Advertisements on every page it goes to. So, that's specialized for him. It's not dead. It's just that's why they're collecting all of our data to see what it is that we want, see what it is that we like.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, no, that's all I gotta say on that. Go ahead, Verson.
Well, something like this was bound to happen at some point sooner or later just because of. Well, I mean, there's been enough talk, but as is typical of government, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk with election interference up here in Canada. And I've heard theories that Canada was involved with attempting to hijack the 2024 election in the U.S. And nothing at this point really would surprise me about that one way or the other. So, is it something like this was due? That's all I can say. Like, this was long overdue to happen. And because it is a US based company, they're going to be compelled to crack down on it. Now, it's also quite likely or quite possible that this has already been identified. It's just that the timing wasn't right. I don't know what the optics would be for now, rather than doing it for this to be made known public sooner. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to profess to be any sort of guru. And what the outcome, what's going to fall out from the tree with this one being shaken, it's going to be interesting. I don't see this being. This is not going to be only an Indian thing. In fact, if anything, I expect there's going to be quite a bit with China as well too. A lot, actually.
Well, the thing about China is that China does this. Like, they actually pay people in China to go onto YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and whatnot onto sites that are critical about the Chinese government, about what's going on in China, and like go in there and like outright lie. The thing about it is like, I mean, they're very easy to spot. Like, they're pathetically easy to spot.
Yeah. Well, and that's fine. I mean, if there's a pattern to it and you can see it, then yes, no problem. But I think what will be the case is that this is really going to start to ramp up. I can see that this is going to be causing enough tension internationally, as it should. But the precedent will also be set, though, that any country that interferes in the U.S. elections, they'll be happy to, well, they'll make the attempt, I think, to do the same thing to the U.S. if push comes to shove. Now, will it happen? I don't know. I really have no idea. But given the fuckery of my comment about a certain laptop during a certain U.S. presidential election that got my Facebook account cut off or shut down, was I directly interfering in anything? No, I was just voicing my opinion on something that was going on in the U.S. and in no way, shape, or form. Well, do I think I made any sort of impact or influence? No. But given how close Facebook at the time was to the Obamas and whatnot, I'm just going to leave that there. So now, Well, like, I guess the best way to say it is that turnabout is fair play, and that's really what it's going to come down to. If it's okay for the Democrats, then it'd be fine for the Republicans. So, well, we'll see. And that's all I am going to say on the matter.
Well, if anybody messes with the elections, Trump will just declare martial law and start bombing people's fishing boats.
Yep. Anyway, before we begin, I have a photo of the J6 bomber. I just thought I'd give V here the chance to look at this vicious, evil, alt-right, MAGA, black-hating, white supremacist. I just like you might want to brace yourself, V. Here's his photo.
Take a seat.
Yeah, catch it. Look at him. He just screams white supremacy, doesn't he?
He's screaming.
Well, I don't think he likes any black people from the way he looks. He looks like he hates everybody. He's just a hater. He woke up and drank a tall glass of Haterade.
Yeah, he walked over to the mirror and he's like, I hate black people. I hate them. I hate niggers. I hate them.
You know what? You would be surprised. I know some black people just I hate niggas. And it is hilarious when you meet these people. There are some.
Yeah. Does he look at himself in the mirror in the morning and punch the mirror? It's like, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic here. So the next topic. Oh, wow. Okay. So this one is a little bit ongoing. This one involves, and we've kind of heard about it, and I've been kind of not wanting that. Well, I thought wanting to, but it really wasn't that high on the radar, except of course that the people who are being charged in this are choosing to double down. Tim Walz, and yeah, I shit you not, Tim Walz tried to play the goddamn race card on this. So yeah, I have two videos on this. Lynn K. Somali Fraud is the first one I'm going to play. This is probably about 6 minutes or so. So yeah, we'll get this photo of this vicious white supremacist off the screen so we can put Ilhan Omar up, and then we will play these two videos. We're going to start with Lynn K. Somali Fraud and then John Kennedy, Minnesota. Okay, so Lynn K. Somali Fraud. Here we go.
A $250 million fraud scheme. Already 77 people, many of them Somali immigrants, have been charged in one of the largest taxpayer-funded scams in U.S. history. Minnesota, home to the largest Somali community in America, has become the center of this massive investigation. This is the Feeding Our Future scandal, a pandemic-era scheme in which defendants allegedly stole over $250 million meant to provide meals for low-income children. Instead of feeding kids, prosecutors say the money went toward luxury homes, high-end cars, jewelry, overseas transfers, and an entire network of shell companies. According to the DOJ, the conspirators submitted fake invoices, fabricated meal counts, and even staged photos to make it look like they were serving millions of meals that never existed. In some cases, they claimed to feed more children than lived in entire neighborhoods. A federal jury found Amy Bach, the founder of Feeding Our Future, and Salim Ahmed Saeed guilty of conspiracy, bribery, wire fraud, money laundering. Federal officials say more arrests may still be coming.
Okay, and then we got John Kennedy, Minnesota. This one is really interesting.
The businesses, many of which were Somali owned, which were getting some money to feed the children from Feeding Our Future, the nonprofit that was quarterbacking this whole thing. They weren't giving any of the money to hungry children. They were spending it. These businesses were spending it on yachts and vacations and jewelry and and furniture for their home. That was scheme number one. But it got worse. The second scheme was supposedly to help people who are homeless. Remember, I said in America, when you're homeless, we'll house you. Well, that's what they were trying to do in Minnesota. A nonprofit was set up, again run by someone of Somali ancestry, and this nonprofit went to a bunch of providers who supposedly were going to provide housing. And they told the welfare authorities in Minnesota that they needed millions of dollars to house people who were homeless. And once again, the program started out small. When they started it in 2020, these crooks started it in 2020, they said, we only need $2.6 million. But then in 2021, they said we need $21 million. And in the following years, they said we need $42 million the next year, then $74 million to feed, or rather to house the homeless, then $104 million a year. Not the total scheme, a year. It's just one problem. None of the money was going for housing. None of the money was going to help people who were homeless. These providers and this nonprofit that was coordinating it just put the money in their pocket. But there's more. They came up with a third scheme. This one makes you want to throw up in a potted plant. This one's centered around autistic children. Once again, in this third program, a group of providers, supposedly medical providers, got together and they went to the welfare authorities in Minnesota and said, we need money to help autistic children. You say, well, that's a wonderful thing to do. And then these providers, once the welfare department at the state government in Minnesota gave them the okay, they went out and started recruiting autistic children. You say, well, okay, we have to get the word out somehow. But they couldn't find very many autistic children. So they started going to parents in the Somali community and saying, can we call your child autistic? Can we certify that your child is autistic? If you'll let us do that, we'll pay you a bribe. Anywhere from $400 to $1,500 a child. Now, once again, the program, it didn't start big. These were sophisticated crooks. And its leader was a woman by the name of Asha Farban Hassan. She was also in, by the way, on the feeding of the children scam as well. And as best we can tell, they approached parents only in the Somali community. But once again, they couldn't find enough autistic children, so they bribed the many parents in the community, gave them money to certify that their children were autistic. In the first year, they were clever. They only asked for $3 million. The second year, in 2019, they asked for $54 million. Then in 2020, they went up to $77 million. And then in 2021, they really got greedy. They went to $183 million. And in 22, $280 million. And in 2023, $400 million. All total, in these 3 fraud schemes, these crooks stole $1 billion of taxpayer money.
So yeah, you take a look at that. Did Ilhan? This was being reported to Tim Walz for months. He chose, and this is, by the way, going at pre-COVID. He chose to do nothing. And I mean, when I mean nothing, like he did nothing. In fact, allegedly, he even threatened the whistleblowers with criminal prosecution. Now, I'm beginning to understand why the Democrat Party made Tim Walz the VP candidate for Kamala Harris. I mean, you got to understand, this is the guy who allowed the rioters in Minnesota to intimidate the jurors during the Derek Chauvin trial. This is the guy who, you know, allowed rioters to run to basically not because the actual event itself had security, but the event the building outside the Metrodome in Minnesota there was just almost riot happening out there because there's lack of security outside of the area where the event was being held. Probably something done because Ilhan Omar was in that crowd. I saw a video of her. She was in that crowd egging the protesters on. She does. So she was in there encouraging this. And anyway, yeah. And of course, we've also got the rather suspicious ties that he had to that shooter who went out and shot all those Democrats, which was suspiciously timed to occur right around the same time as the first No Kings event. And then you've got this, and of course they didn't say anything about it because they were afraid someone's going to play the race card. And Tim Walz played the race card on this. And it's like, no, corruption is corruption. Now, are all the Somalis in on it? No, probably not all the Somalis are not in on it. The issue that keeps coming up, though, is the fact that it's like of the squad, Ilhan Omar is clearly the weakest of the 4. Like there's I think it's the head of Homeland Security. I can't remember his name right now. He has Pete Hegseth. Is it Hegseth? I thought Hegseth was Armed Forces. Oh well, it's like one of maybe it is Hegseth. Tom Homan, that's who it is. Tom Homan. Yeah, Homan has publicly gone on the record saying that he's going to be taking a very close look at Ilhan Omar's application and whatnot. And yeah, there's a very, very strong push to deport a lot of Somalis back to Somalia. Ilhan Omar has said a lot of stupid stuff over the years. Ilhan Omar at one point, and yeah, because this is going to be really relevant on the next show. And she said this even though she's probably Somali first herself. She suggested that Jews that served in the military armed forces of the U.S. shouldn't be allowed to serve because they had divided loyalties. This, by the way, came from Ilhan Omar. Yeah, this is ongoing. Did Tim Walz know? Well, you looked at Mr. Kennedy's presentation. When you start getting up to 9 figures in terms of the amount of money that's being, or even eight figures, high eight figures in terms of the amount of money that's being funneled into this. There's no, like, maybe Tim Walz didn't know about it, but there's no way that none of his members of his cabinet didn't know about it, because numbers that large probably required political approval. Maybe not necessarily from Tim Walz himself, but whoever was responsible for finance and money and the treasury in Minnesota, there's no way that person did not know about this. Like, there's like no possibility at all that that somebody in Tim Walz's and under Tim Walz that directly reported to Tim Walz did not know about this. And Trump, of course, being Trump, called him a retard, which I, based upon some of the stuff I've seen with Tim Walz, he not necessarily, he's a puppet, which is again why the Democrats nominated him as the VP candidate, because he's even more controllable than Kamala Harris would have been. The whole thing really kind of like hit the critical point with me when Walz chose to play the race card. And it was like, it was like you could probably have taken bets on when Tim Walz was going to play the race card. And oh yeah, he also tried to blame Trump for this. And it's like, well, no, you're ripping the people of Minnesota off for a substantial amount of money. That is not Trump's fault. That's on you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, and guess what? This might be shocking to some of you, but I'm gonna say I don't give a damn. White collar crime. Okay, listen. There's a reason why they call it white collar crime. All right, it's not just because of the suit and tie. It's because white people have a minority on. Now, what these Somalians have done is done to the American people every day by the very politicians that are making a fuss about everything. Um, these people are corrupt as all hell. Okay, everybody's getting their kickbacks. Uh, the fact that we have a lobbying system, which you can pay somebody to go and have to argue your case, and then slide millions, hundreds of $1,000,000 to Congress, and they say, okay, yeah, you can go and do that. That should be illegal. Okay, so it's always funny to me whenever sort of thing is picked out when minority does it, and it's the greatest crime and shame and sin. I mean, this is worse than 9/11 to some people. Black man scammed over $1,000,000. Kill him. They were debating whether or not to put what's that guy, uh, uh the Enron people. I mean, they're debating on whether or not to give him jail time. I mean, come on. I know these white people think they have the game all sewn up, and it's only for them. But no, it's not. I I almost wish more of this kind of stuff would happen. Just so, because if other people can do it enough and take away that monopoly, then it'll be shut down. Because there's no way they're going to let the black man rise. I want more of this to happen. More. So then they'll finally lock it down, and nobody will be able to do it. That's what I want to see. Okay, that's just I no, I'm gonna say some stuff I'm gonna regret, but yeah, that's just how I feel about it. We need more of it. Anyways, I know there's some people, little people that get hurt and everything, but again, it's happening every day anyways. It's only an issue right now because some Somalians or immigrants did it. Well, hell, this is the land of opportunity. Yeah, goddamn right they came over here to do that. They see what our politicians are doing. Hell yeah, cut me in on it too. Let's keep it real. Let's make it make sense. Let's make it make sense, please. Anyways, yeah. Harrison, go ahead.
When someone comes into the country under the illegal pretense of being married to her brother, you're going to have to forgive me for not giving a flying fuck where the hell she's from. I'm sorry. Boot her ass out. But this is the same shit that I see going on in Canada to some degree or another, where it's going to be preferential treatment for certain minority groups from other countries. This one just happens to be politically more aligned with Ilhan Omar. This whole thing to me is just a case of color me shocked because I'm not. I take some. What's the word I'm looking for here? I want to say that this is all that surprising to me, but it's not. But then again, in the Q drops from way back when, this is, to me, a case of to show the public how. I'm not saying the Democrats are innocent. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination. But this kind of. Do I believe that corruption exists in red states? Yes, I do. Do I believe it is this extensive? I hope not. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I hope not. So I'm going to stress that difference right there. I don't have a positive thing to say about all of this because I'm just. It's not that I've given up, but I'm just at the point of I've got other things in my life that I'm working on, that I'm working towards, and the whole bit. So now that this is finally coming out, it gives me a little bit of relief, I suppose is the best word, to know that I have to hurry up and wait. Now, I am hoping that this is but the tip of the iceberg, or this will be the beginning of a lot of things to come. And if so, it is going to be a very interesting year. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say this. Right now, with apparently Trump's polling numbers not doing very well, he could certainly do with a boost. And is this a case that this may have been political opportunity on the part of the Trump administration to wait for the right time to spring this? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not happy with it, but I would not be surprised at all. So, for now, unfortunately, it really is a case of time will tell. And this is a warm-up. In my opinion, this is just a warm-up, folks. We'll see. And on that note, I've got nothing more to say. Naroki, back to you.
about that. I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah, and now we go back, to the land of Star Wars again. Yeah, well, Lucasfilm Studios really stuck their foot in it this time. I'm just gonna put up the necessary thing, and yeah, I'm gonna play a video here. It is really. It was Culture Crave SWV is the one I'm showing. It's only 12 seconds long, but the evidence is absolutely undeniable. All right, so here we go. Yes, that's
Wait, hold on a second. What did we just watch?
You're watching
Star Wars SWV. You see, you're seeing like literally
Yeah, I've seen it.
It was a fan film, and then Visions copied the scene. Second.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I've seen the visions, and I often watch a lot of lightsaber battles on YouTube. That is crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
they stole.
That is not crazy. That's to be expected.
I mean, here is we're talking. So go ahead, Rearson.
Well, how many people are aware of this?
It's huge. It broke. It broke. If
A whole lot more people now.
A lot. It broke all over. Oh, it broke all over the Hollywood media and the tech sites almost immediately. Like wow. Here's the thing. Lucasfilm in particular they've got hundreds of millions of dollars or for Visions, tens of millions of dollars to pay production and edit staff the money that they require to create original content. And here's the thing, and I'm just going to play it again just to show you here how easy it would have been to make this not look like they'd stolen it, but they couldn't even be bothered to do that. I'm just going to run it through one more time here. Let me just show you. Okay, yeah. So a 2-second jump cut or just moving the angle to show it from the other side would have and they could have done that because the technology exists currently to do that. They could have moved the camera angle over a bit, or they could have put in a jump cut to break the scene up to make it look like it was something else, and they could have used that scene without any problem whatsoever. It would look like it, but because they moved the camera angle over it, and by the way, I mean, I understand that a move like that might not have been easy to do, but I mean, the thing about techies, especially people who work in that industry, is they know their work, right? Like they know when stuff like that is being done. They know what their stuff looks like, and they will be able to recognize. I mean, like I used to be years ago. Well, I mean, I was just talking about this with somebody here just a few days ago. The anti-piracy move announcements that you would see at the start of movies for a couple of years, they had music in there that turned out was pirated.
Oh, the irony. Can you taste
I love it.
So
Being a pirate myself, I love it.
Yep. So yeah, they use to quote Alex Lynx, though, by trying to get her opinion on a couple of outstanding issues about the adult industry that I've been trying to get somebody in the adult industry to inform me on for years. You know, I told her about that. It was like her response was using piracy to combat piracy. So the whole thing with that is you know, yeah, like I could excuse a small studio or an independent creator doing something like that and using that Dark Jedi template as a model and doing it, but Lucasfilm has a huge budget. Lucasfilm pays their staff. Well, I don't know. Maybe they don't pay them that much. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't pay them that much, or maybe they outed this because this is something I can't think it was called Mainframe in Vancouver. I was told when I was going to Vancouver Film School that Mainframe. I was told by a couple of instructors at Vancouver Film School to not go work for Mainframe, and they told me some of the stuff that was going on there, and I'm like, I decided not to go work there. Mainframe used this same tactic. They used this exact tactic. They would take content from Battlestar Galactica, and then they would just like change the characters, and then they would insert that in. That's what I was told. You know, like that's effectively what they did here. Now, maybe again, right? What really kind of gets me about this is the fact that they said they couldn't even be bothered to insert a jump cut or something in there to make it look a little bit differently. That's what really got me. Now, let's get into the next issue with Star Wars. Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, who was the head of the Acolyte, who gave us bad acting lesbian space witches from hell carrying lightsabers, otherwise known as the I'll use Rearson's name for it, the Ejaculite.
I cannot take credit for that, and I will not take credit for that. But yes,
I heard it from you first, so yeah,
Yep,
congratulations. You know, and I'm like, wow, man, it's like all of the press. By the way, I actually went over to Screen Rant and I actually read their article as to why the Acolyte failed. And of course, Screen Rant is one of those woke publications that, you know, will toe the line. And they made every excuse they possibly could for the show, except, of course, I believe they made maybe one mention to quote unquote toxic fandom, but I don't remember. But I mean, it was like they did everything but blame Leslie Headland and the creators of the show for gross incompetence and stupidity, right? Like, Leslie Headland did an interview. I can't remember with whom it was, but she blamed the fans, and her comment was so harebrained and so stupid that even Amandla Stenberg took a look. She wasn't actually at the interview with her, but she took a look at the interview and decided to go no comment. Like she just went silent. It's gotta be bad. I mean, the comment has to be so out of touch and so stupid. It's got to be really goddamn bad for your lead actress who embarrassed herself publicly with that goddamn video, that dancing video that was so bad and so damaging to the Acolyte that YouTube had to run block for Disney. Of course, it didn't do any good because Twitter didn't do anything, Rumble didn't do anything. So it was like it didn't actually prevent the video from getting out or being seen. But I mean, it's like when Amandla Stenberg has to go quiet and go mute because something that the showrunner said months after the show had been canceled. You know, like that's bad. And I just got to point out again, Leslie Headland was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant at the time that Harvey Weinstein started getting accused, which means that she had been with him and knew about the stuff that was going on with him probably for a while, had dealt with it, and either didn't. There's no way she didn't know, but she obviously didn't care. Right? Or she didn't care, or she was so delusional and out of touch that, like explaining concepts of reality to her just went right the fuck over her head. I think there's literally that's like, I'm going to have to go with that option because, I mean, it is obvious to anybody who took a look at that show and has a working set of sad brain cells in their head that a lesbian space witches did not do particular, or the Acolyte did not do particularly well, and it was a lot of it fell on Leslie Headland's shoulders, right? Here's the thing, right? Like after the Acolyte came out, like you may have noticed that Star Wars has dramatically, like, first of all, they have not done a movie since Solo, and now they're reeling back their television productions as well. And I mean, and when they do come out with something, what they come out with, they steal content from other creators. And by the way, we were talking about this. It's kind of weird because it almost kind of weirdly ties in with what happened with this situation. It doesn't tie in directly, but there's a parallel between this and what happened in Minnesota. You get a lot of bloat, you get a lot of corruption, you get a lot of people making a lot of money that don't give a damn, and they get an assignment from their boss, and maybe the studio that they contracted this work out to is one of those studios that treats its employees like crap. And, this person who was doing it didn't fucking care. Didn't care, or was just plain lazy, and just did this and handed it in to his supervisor. And the supervisor, again, right? That sort of thing is very hard to check, but the supervisor didn't look, right? Because it was like, yeah, here you go. Here's your next assignment. Go back to your table and work like a good little slave, right? Either that was happening at the Lucasfilm studio, or that was happening at the studio that had been subcontracted to do the work. Yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars is, I haven't seen the videos yet that are saying that Star Wars is on life support, but I mean, given the current state of Disney at this point, Disney is probably going to have to start selling off some of its assets to stay viable. And the two that are probably potentially the ones that are the potential money makers are Lucasfilm and Pixar. So at some point, and this is when we do the show at the end of the year or at the start of the year next year, it's like, yeah, don't be surprised next year if you start seeing Disney start selling off a bunch of assets. Now, I got to go to the bathroom here. So I am going to turn it over to V for a little bit, and then Rearson, and then we can move on to the next topic.
Wow, it's so bad that Roki has to go blow one out of his hole. Are we going to do a toilet flush on this topic?
I
Oh boy.
can't. Well, actually, no. I could. I absolutely could.
Oh well, let's give it the old nihilist send off at the end of it when you're done. We haven't done one of those send offs in months, man.
Good Lord, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, we'll give this the Naroki 5 send off that it deserves after Rearson finishes. I have to go to the bathroom though, so I'll be right
Save
back.
it. Okay. Save it. Save it.
Save it. All right. Well, I to be honest with you, I would do something like this. Not because I'm lazy, not to steal, just to see if anybody's paying any attention. If I ever did anything like this, that would be the reason. But I'm a huge. I mean, I sent videos, links to the videos to some people the other day. I was like, can you believe these nerds? Can you believe this nerdy crap? And as tournaments, lightsaber duels. They have these flexible rubber lightsabers. They're practically just sex toys that they probably use on each other after the tournaments. But it is. Hey, Darth Vader had a gift suit. All right, Darth Vader was the ultimate gift, by the way. So let's not.
Don't look at me. No judgment here.
I was gonna say, don't count yourself out of this one, Mears.
Oh, because I'm accused of it every time I go on the fucking show.
Yeah, so so it's funny. It's absolutely hilarious to me. It's not. I feel for the studio, but the amateur independent fan people who created, because that's the fan stuff is better than what you see in the movies.
Yep.
And I for years I've watched lightsaber battles, and I was actually tempted to get some toys myself to play with. But no, I mean, if I'm gonna LARP, I'm gonna
after
do it
what
right.
you were saying, I don't know about you, man.
Well, so okay, so but yeah, they're so much better, because me, I like to have a couple of long day. I have a long day working or whatever. Just I want to come home. Because I'm out and about a lot of times these days, but I work from home mostly, but I gotta do outreach for my company. But I want to have a couple beers, maybe a brandy or something. I'll put on a little drunken kung fu, because there's like 100 different drunken kung fu movies on YouTube. And so, kind of same thing with the lightsaber duels. I love it because I'm a martial artist myself, and I like the fact that people are into this kind of stuff, and they use their body to intellect and to strategize and overcome obstacles. That's what martial arts is all about. So for a studio to come and steal your work and not even acknowledge it, to me, I'm really just, I'm going to follow the story because I want to see what comes out of it. I don't know if anybody's been punished. Has anybody been fired? Is there going to be a lawsuit? I mean, if somebody stole my content, a major studio, and it's my actual created content, yeah, I'm going to sue. So what is? Do you know if there's going to be anything happening to this footage? Where I mean, where did the footage come from? Is it now cut or is it? I mean, what's going
Well,
on?
I mean, it's because there is grounds for a lawsuit. The only problem is that you're suing Disney, and Disney has a way of dragging lawsuits out for
I would.
months and years.
Uh-huh.
The only reason Gina Carano got a settlement with Disney is because Elon Musk pretty much made it public that he was going to. Elon Musk made it clear that he was going to cover all of Carano's legal fees, which meant that Disney was not going to be able to drag it out and use stalling and delaying
Yeah,
tactics and
arbitration.
whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah.
arbitration, that sort of thing. The creator of this was a YouTube content creator. He doesn't have the pockets to go after Disney, right? And even if he did go after Disney, which I'm going to have to imagine he would be, it would be years
It doesn't matter. It's
before.
worth it.
Yeah, yeah, it would
I'd
be
pay.
years before. Yeah, it would be years before he would see anything out of it, if anything.
Mhm.
And more than likely, Disney would do the same thing they did with Carano, is settle before it went to Discovery.
Right. Well, they need to sue. That's absolutely abysmal. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, if they had just contacted the creator and say, "Hey, here's $500. Can we have the scene? This 12 seconds. Can we have this 12 seconds for $500? $1,000. It's Disney. Why steal? 25 grand, guy. It would have been a non-issue. Why is everyone so stingy? You guys spend money to make money. And that's why Disney's not making money, because they don't want to spend the money to do anything right. They're cutting corners. They're getting woke people who are eager and to work for less money, just to get the name out there and get their point out there. Um, and they're taking advantage. I mean, pay the man. Pay, or I'm sorry, I mean, the woman, or
Thing.
the he,
The
she, or
thing. Thing.
the it, or
This
whatever it
thing.
identifies as. Pay them. If I made a scene like that and Disney came knocking on my door, I'd be, or I mean anybody really, that wanted to use my content and wanted to flash me a few bucks, flash me a few bucks. Yeah, just do it. I'd be honored. But they refuse to do the right thing. Why can't anyone just do the right thing? Because they don't want to give up the accolades. They don't. They're too embarrassed to admit that the content that's on YouTube is way better than any of the scenes that they can create. I mean, let's be honest. The fight scenes from the prequels were abysmal. With the exception of the third one, those are pretty good. But
Revenge. Yep.
and then afterwards, the the sequel trilogy, terrible choreography. They got this little girl named Ray swinging a blade around. It doesn't look natural. It doesn't look cool. All for the sake of being woke. You're trashing the art. You're trashing the concept. You're trashing the whole fantasy universe. You're trashing it. So I mean, it's so easy. Just pay your dues. Nobody has a problem with anybody who pays their dues. Why do they constantly want to be in the news, from the pedophile rings to to them being woke to them? It's a constant issue with Disney. They need new board of directors. First of all, they need they need some people with actual experience. They need to. I mean, it's sort of like the same thing with Warhammer. So many awesome content creators on YouTube, I mean, the only thing that Warhammer does, GW, okay, and I'm not talking Bush, all right? GW won't just it sends a cease and desist to everyone. No, let that content, buy the content, use it. Just get it out there. Why deny us, the content? It's better than anything you can do. Just take it, use it, pay somebody. I mean, this is like the most childish thing in the world. You grow up, you're raised as a child to be an adult, to do adult things and not be silly, to mature. But we have major corporations, men in their 50s and 60s, pinching pennies that so it doesn't fall out of their multi-million-dollar bank accounts, and screwing somebody over who can use a meal. Pay them for their content. Stop being a jackass. Damn. You know, rules for thee, not for me. I'm sick of that. Make your way, pay your dues, and get the hell on. These topics are pissing me off tonight. All right, go, Rierson. Go ahead.
But you didn't know nothing about Leslie Headland at all. They're just the.
Well,
just the
I'm always
stuff?
suspicious of a woman named Leslie,
All
and
right.
that's all I'll say.
All right, Bruce, you're up.
Yeah, there was an executive housekeeper that Naroki and I both knew of. I think you worked under her way back when I had dealings with her. She was a fat, ugly British woman, and she was just disgusting to look at. Oh, bad attitude. No. So,
Oh, really? Tell us how you really feel. Come on.
well, she was right up your alley, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, listen. If it's just a one night stand, hey, I'm all for it. Just give me enough. Just give me enough booze. We'll have a good time.
That wouldn't be.
I think everybody should have a good time.
That would be a one night stampede. Anyway,
Oh man, you trashed me right back today in this episode. All right.
You sure you want me to come back? Okay, that's fine. I will.
Oh no, don't spare my feelings. Go ahead.
Oh, I won't. Anyway, okay. First, I'm going to say about Headland. I said this once, and I've said it now about 5 or 6 times, in one form or another, on one platform or another. The Acolyte was her $180 million or something like that, or 240. I don't know.
Lot. Yeah, I think one of those two. Yeah, it was a huge amount of money.
Okay, well, I'll go right down the middle, just like I'm sure she does on other women. That she probably got set up for Harvey Weinstein, allegedly. That was her therapy with her twin sister, where the relation just fell apart. That's what that whole fucking movie was all about. A movie. Might as well just call it a movie. That's what the Acolyte was all about. I got problems with my sister. You know what? I don't fucking care. I started to really walk away from Star Wars when Disney bought it. Everyone was frothing at the mouth and happy with the Force Awakens. Everybody was frothing at the mouth with Force Awakens. I was like, no. But fucking no. I stayed away from it. I have not seen. The only thing of their content that I have watched is Andor. I did watch Book of Boba Fett. That was the quality of material has fallen off a fucking cliff. Andor was about the only thing that was half decent. And this ties into the whole lightsaber scene as well, too. And Naroki, you did steal my thunder. What I was going to say is that some employee somewhere, whether it was with Lucasfilm or contracted out or subcontracted out or whatever, took it as it was, made it into what we saw, and something like that, you're going to find shit like that will come out eventually. Now that shit has hit the fan, and I watched Visions season 1. Japanese anime companies, they know how to write. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. They know how to write characters. I mean, the first one was a huge Akira Kurosawa influence, and it was fucking amazing. I loved it. There were 2 or 3 others that were good. There were 1 or 2 that were, oh god, this is just absolute garbage. Whatever. And then they went to season 2, and season 2 was so. Kathleen Kennedy must have just had a hissy fucking fit. Because season 2 for Visions was all female centric. Like, there was so much. It was so pussy aligned, it wasn't funny. And after the 3rd or 4th.
Feminized, it was feminized, yeah.
Oh, to say the least, yes. So I watched about 5 of them. I'm like, I've had enough of this shit. Fuck this. I'm done. I enjoyed watching Bad Batch, but Dave Filoni can't. If there's not a female-centric character to it, he's about as useful as tits on the bowl. And the only thing that's kind of keeping Star Wars alive is going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Fucking god awful fucking title, but whatever. I mean, with what we've seen of that 12-second clip, and you said this when we met at Eau Claire years ago, and you said that Hollywood was creatively bankrupt. Well, now we're seeing what's going on with a major company, with a major franchise, with a major IP, and they're scraping the bottom of the barrel now. They've got people that either don't know or don't care. What the hell was that Kiwi's name? Kiki or whatever the fuck his name is.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Waititi. I think that's his
Something
name.
like
Taika Waititi or something like that. Yeah.
A tight old kitty?
Well, if he's got a tight old kitty, I'm hoping it's not. Well, he might have desires of having his own tight old kitty with surgery.
I mean, he was the villain in Free Guy. The thing about, although Free Guy had its woke moments, Free Guy was the first time that I actually seen a movie where it was like they know about Get Woke Go Broke. They know about this PC stuff, and they're just choosing to ignore it because there was enough woke content in Free Guy that I actually got the DVD. Continue.
Well, the reason that I'm bringing him up is that he basically made a complete and total mockery of Thor. And I believe Hemsworth has basically gone on the record to say, I'll do another movie, but it's not going to be this shit. Thor has to be a man, basically. And that jackass, not Hemsworth, but the other douchebag that we were referring to, he fully admitted he doesn't know anything of what the comics were all about. So this is the mentality of what Hollywood is. And it's no surprise, at least it should not be any surprise, to anyone as to why that shit like this it's happening. It's going down in the direction that it is, which is going down faster than Monica on fucking Bill. And I want to be surprised by this, but I am absolutely not. If anything, I'm laughing at the whole thing because it's like, yeah, I'm not that I knew that this was going to happen, but it's one of those, oh, I'm surprised that it finally came out, or this is the first admission. If they did it with this, how far back has this been going on? So, stupid is as stupid does, and stupid is right now labeled Disney, among other places, but still, it's just, whatever. Fuck, whatever. And I was already saying, and I said way back when, that the best that I can do to Disney is to not buy their stuff. And you know what? If enough people don't buy their stuff, well, look at them now. They are in deep, deep shit. So I have no sympathy to give, and thank God this shit like this is coming out now. So I have honestly nothing more to say.
Well, and
Now
I'm gonna say with that, I actually it was either today or yesterday. I'm talking with a good friend and about Disney, and I asked her if she's seen The Mandalorian. She's like, no, I don't watch any of the Disney stuff. She doesn't like the prequels or anything like that. She likes the old stuff. And it's like, hey, that's fine. It's like, 'cause I don't support Disney anyways. And she asked me why. I was like, well, for some fact that Disney gets busted with pedophile rings every year. So as far as back as I can remember. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to support them. It's a pedophile company. I may not be the people at the top, but a lot of people at the bottom are it's just pedophile ring after pedophile ring. I mean, literally, it's not just employees and it's elsewhere what the employees are doing in private time. No, these are employees on Disney property with their pedophile rings. No, I'm not going to ever give. If I really want to watch something that they create, I'm going to pirate it. No, okay, I'm not gonna give them $1. I'm not gonna give them a penny. So, Hulu. As soon as I found out they merged with Hulu, I disconnected my Hulu. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say with my son, we did go see the re-release of the anniversary of episode 1, and then at that same theater, every week for the next 5 weeks after, we skipped episode 2, but we saw 3, 4, 5, and 6. So my job as a dad, as a parent, is complete. My son has seen Star Wars in the theater. Yes, he knew exactly what happened in each movie. And I did say to him that, yeah, well, you have to see it in the theater to understand why it was so big. So when it was all said and done, he agreed that, yeah, that had to be done. So
yeah, it's just like you have to
Wow.
just like you have to go see Akira in the theater in order to get the visuals on it.
That is so cool. Hey, you want to be my daddy? Then take me to the movie. Come on. Be my daddy.
I am not your daddy.
All right. So if we're done with this topic, who has the toilet close to them so we can give the Acolyte? Going back to the days of Nihilist, let's give the Acolyte and Leslie Hanlon the official red pill send off. We haven't done this in a couple of years. So
Here we go. If I knew this, I would have loaded it up and saved it. 3, 2, 1. Yep, here we go. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. let's move on to topic number 4 here, since we're just like so bloody professional on this show. Oh, Candace Owens TP USA. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't actually have that much to say about this one, but I do have a few videos to run here. So we are starting with TP USA C Owens 01. So yeah, here we go.
At me is the fact that Turning Point will not release the footage, okay? I don't understand it. Every excuse that I have been handed for why they won't release it makes no sense to me. If you are under pressure, if people are starting to look at you funny as an organization, if they're thinking that, whether rightfully or wrongfully, if they are suspecting because they see this footage of someone quickly remove the SD cards, that you guys had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you quite literally have footage that in theory should vindicate yourself, why wouldn't you release it? Think about that. It's just in your own capacity. If somebody is saying you are guilty of anything, if they're like, Candace, you are absolutely guilty of breaking into my car, and I'm like, I have a camera right here that shows that I did not break into your car. Would it make sense if I was like, but I'm not going to release that? I'm not going to release that. Because it's not right. It's not right for me to release. What? It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would not release this. The idea that it's because, well, the feds are saying the feds cannot arrest you. Last I checked, the feds cannot bring charges against you for releasing footage that you own. And since when do we trust the feds? Certainly Charlie didn't. He didn't believe we were getting the truth about the Epstein files and things of that nature. So I don't accept that.
All right, next one is EL Yacobi C Owens 1. Here we go.
I had a phone call with someone, by the way, who's extremely close to this current administration, and they said, completely offhandedly, we were not even really discussing Charlie, but then they said, you know, something that's really weird. I was at Charlie's memorial. She said, when did Turning Point become so faith-focused? She's like, I remember, obviously, Charlie always spoke about his evangelical faith. She's like, but when you guys were running around starting all these Turning Point chapters, it was all about free markets and capitalism. And she was like, and I was at the rally, and it was suddenly faith, 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 pastor, 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 pastor. And I said, you know, that is actually interesting. That is true, that it just kind of started. And then it was almost the biggest thing about Turning Point. It's really interesting to consider that. Turning Point suddenly got super de-duper faithful with what I would say is an interesting cast of characters, the wrong characters. Okay, Rob McCoy leading that frontier, as we know. What people don't know publicly is that Lance Wallnau was working with him. Okay, he was intimately involved, and more importantly, he was financially involved. Sources within Turning Point's faith department tell me that Lance was running the show behind the scenes through funding, that he put a ton of money into Turning Point USA faith operations. Now, I guess a better way for me to state this, because I want to be super clear here, is that Lance Wallnau, who is from a military family and who is saying that he believes in infiltration as a means to climb mountains and overtake society, however he just described that.
And Project Concept, this is about 7 minutes and 46 seconds long, so this is a bit of a long one. So yeah, here we go. This is the response from TPUSA.
We wanted to use this segment at the top of this hour to say something important, something very important. For the past 2.5 months, there is a topic that has flooded our Freedom inbox. It has been nonstop on social media, but which we have almost totally avoided on this show. You probably already know what I'm talking about, which shows just how ubiquitous it has been. Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for this show. She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She has suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. She has suggested Michael is not his real name. It is. I have seen his birth certificate myself. She has called it suspicious that Mikey's wife, who works at Turning Point, helped plan the campus tour event where Charlie was murdered, which she didn't, by the way. She doesn't work on campus events. Candace has suggested the Utah Valley University event was unusual, and its details suggested a, quote, inside job. She has claimed that foreign aircraft have followed Erica Kirk around the country and that Turning Point has lied about this happening. She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erica to take over for him if he died. She has suggested Charlie's security team intentionally denied him first aid after the shooting to ensure that he died. She has raised suspicions about the head of our technical team because he took an SD card out of a camera. She has spread absurd claims that Tyler Boyer, who we just had on the show, sexually abuses male interns. She has suggested that TPUSA faith-affiliated pastors, like theologian Frank Turek, who we'll have on in a moment, and Pastor Rob McCoy, are part of a military, quote, infiltration of Turning Point, either because they are veterans or because they have family members who are. Even if not everyone has been named specifically, though, Candace has effectively tarred everyone here with complicity in Charlie's death by repeatedly saying he was, quote, betrayed by, quote, everyone. She has said Charlie's murder, quote, had to be approved by Charlie's friends, and then suggested those friends might have her murdered too for, quote, knowing the truth. She has made claims of financial impropriety and fraud at Turning Point, adding up into the millions of dollars, which, again, is not true. Charlie made sure the organization was audited by a third party every year. He personally reviewed and he signed off on every expense report, and literally every single bill paid by the organization down to a single United States dollar. We have never missed a 990 deadline. Candace has made other stranger allegations involving French paratroopers in maroon shirts, Egyptian Air Force planes flying out of Provo, Utah, and potential underground assassins traveling through unseen tunnels. At one point, in early November, she started wildly throwing suspicion on members of Utah Valley's soccer team for wearing hoodies. I could go on. There is always something new coming up, and none of it ever pans out, because from the start, there has been nothing there. The attacks and allegations from Candace are either lies or they are innuendos thrown around with a total, reckless disregard for the truth, so that Candace can manipulate and string along an audience of people who don't realize they are being played. Instead of being able to grieve properly after one of the most heinous murders in American history, a murder many of us had to witness, my friends have had to endure harassment from people who have gotten whipped up by what Candace is saying. In fact, I would say we have suffered more harassment from these people than we have from Antifa supporters who overtly celebrate Charlie's murder. And just like a lot of those Antifa members, many of these people take this delight in how gross and unpleasant they can be. What our friends have had to endure is not funny, and it's not insignificant. It is evil. I have seen it. For months, we have received hundreds, thousands, I suspect, emails and calls asking us to respond. People have wanted us to invite Candace on the show, but for a long time, our approach was to say nothing. We did that for several reasons. First, we thought that her prevarications were so absurd that nobody would believe them. We shouldn't have to answer questions about secret tunnels or Egyptian Air Force planes. That sort of thing is just, it's beneath contempt to respond to. The second reason we've said so little, though, is because there's a good rule of thumb, which Charlie followed. Do not feed the trolls. Focus on the mission. Reviving America, uplifting young people, making heaven crowded. Don't give air to people who want to tear you down and sow discord. Lastly, we didn't respond because Charlie always viewed Candace as a friend, and we were holding out hope that she would return that friendship and stop what she was doing. But a week from now, it's going to be 3 months since Charlie's murder. Candace has not changed her behavior. She has continued to spread falsehoods about Charlie's friends, and she continues to concoct new ones about new people. She's using these falsehoods to enrich herself while dividing the conservative movement at an absolutely critical time for this country. And far too often, we here have heard from ordinary people, people who loved Charlie and who Charlie loved so much in return. These people have expressed the worry that we are staying silent out of cowardice or as some sort of tacit admission that some of the attacks are true. Neither is the case. Our silence has never been, and it will never be, equal to complacency or approval. Still, we decided Charlie would not allow this to go on. Charlie was not a coward. Charlie was a fighter. Charlie would not allow someone to spread lies about the people closest to him with impunity. And he would feel ashamed if other people were stepping up to defend his friends while he never did so himself. Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen. In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix. At this point, we believe the ball is back in her court. Our motivation for doing this is not out of any obligation to Candace. It is about honoring Charlie. We feel a deep responsibility to protect his legacy, his work, and the truth. I feel that. I owe Charlie everything in my life. I feel it immensely. And that is why we feel compelled to speak clearly and openly now. We'll have more on this in the near future.
Okay. Let's not kid ourselves here. There was a lot of things around Charlie Kirk's assassination that didn't add up. And, that's why I posted up the first video. And Candace Owens has been really talks, and I'm not taking Candace Owens' side when I say this, by the way. There's been a lot of questions. There's been some questions about the security at that event in Utah. There's been inconsistencies around Tyler Robinson. For instance, he clearly did not go up there with that gun. Here was the gun, and we've discussed this before. The gun, the rifle that he shot Charlie Kirk with, it's simply too large to be concealed unless you have a really large backpack, which he did not have. The other issue with that is that, it was, again, it turned out that it had something to do with the text, the way the texts played out, and that how he had allegedly dropped the rifle and that sort of thing. That did not jive with the fact that it took almost a minute for a trained gun expert to break down the gun, and then probably would have taken another 10 or 15 seconds to throw all the materials into the bag to drop the gun off, right? So there's a lot of stuff around that. There was a really strange thing about them not having medical personnel at an event with hundreds of people attending, which is a requirement, right? There was the timing of the fact that there was a guy who was on the record with Twitter saying that there was going to be, and Instagram saying that there was going to be a big something that happened at that event in Utah, and he just happened to be the guy that was speaking to Charlie Kirk the moment he got shot. Erica Kirk has been engaging in behavior that would be considered grifting. When I first saw Kyle Kulin, because keep in mind, Kyle Kalinski's a fucking worm, right? he's one of those individuals that completely sold out for the money, right? And when he first posted up that photo on Twitter of Erica Kirk being a grifter like that, my response was, yeah, well, that's Kyle Kalinske for you, right? But I mean, upon closer look, there is some stuff there to be suspicious about, right? And then, of course, there's the stuff that Candace Owens said. Now, at the same time, while this is going on, and we will cover this on the next show, there is definitely some serious inconsistencies with some of the stuff that Candace has been saying as well. And there's also been an ongoing attempt right now for like Milo, and we will be covering this on the next show. Milo Yiannopoulos made some claims about Ben Johnson and Erica Kirk. And I got to point this out about Erica Kirk here. Erica Kirk first entered the culture vernacular when she brought out a site called Social Autopsy, which was going to be a doxing site. Erica Kirk started out on the left. Yeah, Rearson. I remember Rearson has said a couple times over the years he thought that Candace Owens was a bit of a grifter. Candace Owens has done some really good work. Candace Owens has done some really good work. She did some really good work around Harvey Weinstein. She's done some really good work around Blake Lively, right? So she's not completely uncredible. She is very credible, right? Also, like her marriage, like she got engaged to a rich man like 17 days after she met him. Right? Like 17 days. All right? Like that kind of reeks of gold digging. Now, I'm not going to get into the stuff that happened the following week because we will be doing that on the next show. What I'm saying is that Candace has some valid points and that TPUSA has not answered them. Now, when we get into next week, the focus is going to be a little bit more on Candace, and Candace has definitely dropped the ball too. Make no mistake about this. I am not, just like how we're not necessarily rah-rah Trump here, I'm not rah-rah Candace Owens either. Like, Candace Owens has had some very suspicious stuff tied to her as well. And again, I have to keep saying this. Candace Owens before she was doing Red Pill Black, like her beginning was as a liberal developing a social media doxing site. And she got into a lot. It was Computing Forever that finally had to, this was like 2015, 2016. Yeah, it was Computing Forever that had to start beating the drum because Candace Owens did not shut that site down. Like she didn't take that site down. It wasn't until Computing Forever finally just started blowing the war drums and demanding that she take that site down that she finally did, right? So Candace Owens is not innocent either. There's definitely some stuff about Charlie Kirk and about this current kind of attack platforming that's being done by right-wingers on other right-wingers right now. That is very suspicious. That's got some very suspicious timing. And again, I am going to leave that for 472. We're just going to focus in on the Candace Owens making accusations toward TPUSA. And again, right, based upon what she has presented. And by the way, that dude, that last video, that 7-minute long video, that was obviously a prepared statement. Not particularly well delivered either. But again, right, apparently, from my understanding, is that Erica Kirk met with Candace Owens and everything has been resolved behind the scenes. But yeah, there's a lot there to go about. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, I have no dog in this arena. I still see what the importance of this Kirk guy. I don't see what his importance was. I most definitely don't see what the importance of his wife is. Can you imagine? Well, okay, imagine you get whacked today. You get whacked tonight. Do you think your wife is going to be doing a tour of podcasts to commemorate you?
I don't honestly know if she would be happy or sad because I've made 2 attempts to leave. I wish I was joking, man, but like, if that actually did happen, I'm sure she would be sad about it, but be one of those, well,
Oh man, you caught me off guard. Okay, you're
I
escaped slave on the plantation.
dude, I'm about an hour outside of where I used to live. I'm happy as a pig. I'm happy as a pig in shit. I really am.
Oh man, well,
I
she
I
no love of you a long time anymore.
oh there there was no love in a long time. That was like 10 years ago. I have I
You
have
bring this honor to my family. Me no love you anymore. you, you have no job, little dick.
I'm not going to go
No,
there. I'm
no,
not going to go
I'm
there.
just making a case. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
no,
that's what happened, but you know. Well, okay. So, anyways,
things
I don't know what these people are about. So, what do you think, Gerson?
with Candace, I've been well. Naroki already said it. I mean, she's questionable. She does enough to keep her credibility. She does enough of what she does to remain relevant enough. But at the end of the day, I don't trust this woman. I really honestly don't. Intelligent, yes. Cunning, yes. Scheming, if everything with her husband is what Naroki has said, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. But would I trust my back to her? No. Now, if there's things that have been worked out between the 2 ladies, okay, great. No problem. That's between them. I have no say in the matter. I don't. I know who Candace would be if she did come up and bite me, but how's the saying go? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. I don't consider Candace an enemy, but she does not strike me as someone that has genuine integrity. So, and all things being equal, she seems to exhibit very well. I just give me just a minute here, V. Give me just a minute here. With what I've started to really understand about female nature, a woman cannot and will not overtly attack you, but she sure as well, if she's motivated enough, not saying this is the case with Candace, but a woman, if she has enough motivation, will do everything she can to attempt character assassination. So, is that what has been going on here? With the attempt to stay relevant and to keep her followers and to say stuff that's going to be edgy and going to keep people hooked in or whatever else, I would not be surprised. And I will leave it at that.
I think the saying goes, keep friends close and keep your enemies closer. And,
Yeah, that's what
and be damn sure to wear a condom. Keep a condom.
Yeah.
Condoms don't protect us as well as you might think. A friend of mine wore condoms all the time, had a condom on, got hit by a bus.
Wow.
There's Naruki just ruining the moment. Asshole.
Wah, wah, wah.
Pretty much. Anyway. No, nothing with Candace honestly surprises me. Like, really nothing does. I don't watch and I don't listen to her stuff anymore. I mean, I'm barely watching anything that is political on YouTube anymore because my brain just doesn't want to deal with it. So everything that woman is spouting off, well, we'll see. That's all I'm going to say is we will see.
Okay, well, we're going to take a bit of a break here. I'm just going to throw out one thing, though, about politics before we take a little bit of a bit of an info break here. This has got pointed out, and because I might not get around to saying this for a while. The national press, and this has got nothing to do with what we were just talking about here, but the national press has stopped doing polls on Alberta separation, and that's being noticed because, I mean, if they wanted to find out what was going on, right? They wanted to know what the popularity for what the support for separation is. They would be like doing polls all the time, but they just stopped, right? Which is strongly suggest that, you know what, it's probably a lot more support there than what we thought. Anyway, I am going to run 3 or 4 funny, well, maybe not funny, but some interesting videos here. First one is take down a fatty. No, sorry, V, you don't have this one. I didn't have time to send it to you. But
of all the ones to not send me, you don't send me that one. Great. All
right. So yeah, here we go. Try not to laugh too hard, Rearson.
Okay.
Can somebody please show me a picture of somebody from MAGA that doesn't look like they came from the hills have eyes?
I can smell the cat piss, the Winston 100s, and the expired Slim Jims wafting off your video. You look like the type of girl who applied to a strip club, but they only let you dance during the day shift on a Tuesday. I bet all of your kids have you blocked and you blame it on astrology. Ladies and gentlemen, the final boss of the trailer park fight. If you were to tell me that you make dream catchers using old beer tabs and you sell them at the flea market from a table called the Gypsy Den, I wouldn't blink. We all knew that kid from the late 80s, early 90s who had the Power Ranger blanket or the Lion King blanket that always smelled like piss. You are the human embodiment of that blanket. If the people from Hills Have Eyes and the people from Wrong Turn got each other pregnant and then they drank during the entire pregnancy, we'd get you. You look like you drive a 1998 Ford Explorer with empty Suboxone wrappers on the floor, and it smells like Dollar General cucumber melon. You got a body built like a beanbag chair and a face made for radio.
Yep, sorry you can't see that. All right, and now we have the hot, crazy dating matrix.
Oh, okay. The universal hot, crazy matrix. It's everything a young man needs to know about women. I've developed this on my own over 46 years of living on the earth. Hot is, as usual, measured from 0 to 10. Crazy is measured from 4 to 10 because, of course, there's no such thing as a woman who's not at least a 4 crazy. This is your hot, crazy line right here. Very important that you keep in mind where the hot, crazy line is. This is your no-go zone. We do not hang around and marry women who are not, at least in our mind, a 5. We just rule this out. Life is better this way. This is your fun zone. You want to move out of the fun zone to a more permanent location. Above the crazy line, we have the danger zone. This is your redheads, your strippers, anyone named Tiffany, hairdressers. This is where your car gets keyed, you get a bunny in the pot, tires get slashed, and you wind up in jail. At this point, understand something. Any woman that you have previously located on this chart can vanish from that location and appear anywhere else on the chart. Above an 8 hot, about a 7 crazy. This is your date zone. These are women that you introduce to your friends and your family, reasonably not crazy most of the time. Now, above an 8 hot and between about a 7 and a 5 crazy, this is your wife zone. This zone is not scaled to size. Below a 5 crazy and above an 8 hot, this is your unicorn zone. These things don't exist. If you find a unicorn, please capture it safely, keep it alive. We'd like to study it and maybe look at how to replicate that. I was explaining this to a guy one time and he said, wait a minute. I met this girl and she's like smoking hot. She's like at least a 9 and she's chill. She's totally cool. I said, you should be careful. That's a dude. You're talking to a tranny. Down here, below a 4 crazy and above an 8 hot, you're probably talking to a dude.
For the women watching, is there a male version of that? I mean,
yeah, it's a little simpler, but we can do it real quick. It doesn't take very long at all. You got your cute axis and you got your money axis, okay? Women have a very large no-go zone. This is for dudes who are neither hot nor have a lot of money. This is the husband section. Once you cross a line and have sufficient amounts of money, it is no longer relevant how hot you are. And women have a fun zone here where a dude is broke but hot. That is the cute versus rich matrix for women's use.
remember, your responsibility to be ready to date hot bitches never ends.
Okay, and now we got a couple of information videos here.
I could say he's not wrong.
Oh, he is
Absolutely
definitely not wrong. Absolutely not wrong. Okay, and now we got a couple more, and then we'll get on with the next topic here.
If someone tries to embarrass you in front of everyone, say this and watch them crumble in seconds. You're in a meeting, a dinner, a group of friends. Someone calls you out. They mock your opinion or insult you to make everyone laugh. Most people either explode emotionally or stay silent. But if you understand psychological warfare, you don't just defend yourself. You flip it. You make them the embarrassment. Here are 3 ruthless responses that will destroy anyone who tries to humiliate you publicly. Here's the first tactic. Agree and redirect with a compliment that cuts. They insult you? Say calmly, you might be right. You always notice these things. It's impressive how much attention you pay to me. Why is this brutal? You just did 3 things. 1, you didn't defend yourself, which confuses them. 2, you made it about their obsession with you. And 3, you complimented them in a way that exposes their insecurity. Everyone in the room now sees them as someone who's watching you too closely. You didn't fight. You reposition them as obsessed. And obsession looks weak. Here's the second tactic. They attack you in front of everyone. You look at them, nod slowly, and say, if that made you feel better, I'm glad I could help. Then turn away and continue talking to someone else. Why is this lethal? You just treated their insult like therapy, like they needed to get something off their chest, and you pitied them enough to let them. You're not their equal in this fight. You're above it. The humiliation isn't yours anymore. It's theirs. Here's the third tactic. They say something to embarrass you. You respond with, that's funny. I didn't realize you were still thinking about that. I moved on weeks ago. Why does this annihilate them? Because you just revealed they're stuck. You're not hurt. You're not embarrassed. You're past it, but they're clearly not. They're holding on to something that doesn't even affect you anymore. The room sees them as petty, and you as unbothered. You just made them look small. Now listen carefully. The world doesn't reward the nicest person. It rewards the one who understands power. My book, Dark Psychology, The Forbidden Knowledge, gives you that power. Over 300 tactics to dominate every interaction. Verbal comebacks that destroy. Psychological tricks to read anyone. Manipulation techniques to control conversations. Influence strategies to make people do what you want. Whether it's at work, in relationships, or in any confrontation, this book is your complete arsenal. If you act now, you'll also get Reading Minds, The Invisible Advantage, absolutely free. This book reveals FBI-level psychological tactics. You'll learn to read people like an open book, spot lies instantly, and see through anyone's mask in seconds. This offer won't last. Link in bio.
No, I wasn't paid to promote that. I just thought that would be a really good thing to post up. The first 3 parts were really interesting. And the last one. This is for people who get dirt in their phones.
This frequency can expel anything clogging your speakers, or especially water. If your phone gets wet, don't worry, you can use this frequency. Here's how to activate it. Go to Google and search for water eject shortcut. Pause the video to type it correctly. Click on this shortcut result, okay? This is an iPhone shortcut. Just click install and you're done. It simply adds a shortcut to your iPhone. I already had it, so I'll just click replace. In the shortcuts library, search for water eject. Tap the 3 dots, click the arrow above the name and select add to home screen. Now you'll have this water drop icon as an app on your iPhone. When you tap it, click start. You have 3 intensity levels to choose from. I'll select level 3. Then the sound plays. Look at how powerful this sound is. It can expel any water that got into your iPhone. No need to put your iPhone in rice, just use this. For better results, place your phone face down. For more iPhone tips that can save your device if it falls in water, follow me for more.
Okay, back to the regularly scheduled programming. We have now topic 5, which is, oh yeah, Tim Pool got his compound shot. So we got a couple of videos. Good. Go to Arc Zeal Designs 1, Tim Pool 1, V, and
Okay,
yeah, we'll
give
listen
me
to this
like
one.
10 seconds here. All right.
Here we go.
Open fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. He went on to say, my immediate thought is someone was trying to scare us, but we have a security gate and armed guards, and it's possible this deterred something more serious. Now, earlier today, he posted this follow-up saying, security believes 3 shots were fired. We are in contact with police and FBI. Thank you for everyone who reached out. If anyone has archived Chicken City, the shots should be audible. Unfortunately, we do not archive the live stream. This would be Friday between midnight and 1 a.m. Important to note, he's asking folks to kind of listen in if they do have that podcast somewhere, because you should be able to hear those gunshots fired. Now, reaction is coming in from all over here. We did hear from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posting, quote, this is terrifying. I'm glad everyone is okay. Everyone must stand together against this type of political violence and intimidation, no matter who it happens to, whether you like them or not. Former Congressman Matt Gaetz simply writing, so sorry to hear. And we also heard from Andrew Colvette. He is with Turning Point USA, saying, quote, this is awful. Prayers for you and your team. Please stay safe. Now, all of this, of course, coming months after the assassination of Turning Point's leader, Charlie Kirk. He was fatally shot as he spoke to a large university crowd in Orem, Utah. That was back in September. As for the latest on the shooting here at the home of Tim Pool, no one was injured, but labeled a right-wing podcaster, Pool does have millions of followers on social media across several platforms and is hoping that someone does have that archived footage where you can hear the gunshots. We'll, of course, keep you updated as we get new information here on Live Now from Fox.
Okay, and then Cam Higby, Tim Pool, too.
Sheriff's office. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. Sheriff's office.
No worries. Hi, this is Cameron Higby. I just wanted to call and verify receipt of a report that should have been filed with you guys, or an incident.
Do you have the incident number?
No, I have the name of the person and the incident. So there was a shooting in Tim Pool's compound, and I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of that. It would have been last night, so it would have been the night of 12/5. It might have been reported the following morning.
Thank you for holding. I'm so sorry.
Yep, no worries. That's totally okay.
Yeah, we just got bombarded with an issue here, so.
I totally get it. No, you guys have more important things to do, I'm sure.
Okay, so it says here it was a third-party caller that called it in.
Okay. And what road did you say that was?
Oh.
Okay, got it. Cool. Just want to check if that would be the right road. So it was a third-party caller, and was it that incident I described where somebody drove up and kind of just shot at the place?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. Well, I'm glad that's on your guys' radar, and that was in, right?
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you so much for verifying that. I appreciate it a lot.
Okay, so what happened here is that week, somebody drove up to Tim Pool's. Hold on a second here. Somebody drove up to Tim Pool's compound while he was in the middle of a show and started firing shots into the compound. Now, Tim Pool has probably worth tens of millions of dollars, so he does have armed guards outside. Likely did deter something a whole lot more serious. Again, and when we get into, and I'm going to guess here it's the 16th. So I'm going to guess probably 74, which is going to be a look ahead to 2026. I am going to be, because I mean, at the start of 2025, there were people that were going to say that the violence was going to get really bad and it was going to ramp up to a major degree. In 2025, you're going to start seeing a lot of people dying. I still think that's possibly going to happen. I just think they got the timeline wrong. Just like how I have suspicions that Milo Yiannopoulos throwing shade at Ben Johnson and Candace Owens, ironically enough, going after Tim Pool and then starting that fuss with TPUSA. There were a couple of other content creators on the platform that suggested that maybe that was a planned psyop. Now, I don't know whether I'm in that mode or not, because I mean, if it was a planned psyop, right, it's a little bit early to be doing that because the midterms aren't until November, so we're still 11 months away. However, is it possible? Because again, right, as we all know, the political left has not backed off on any of the rhetoric that they were spewing about Trump and the reaction of people on the left to the Charlie Kirk event, was pretty disgusting. Ironically enough, I mean, and again, we will be covering this for 73. Rob Reiner got murdered a couple of days ago. And yeah, the response has been a whole lot more muted from the right about that. The whole thing, though, kind of boils down to the fact that, I mean, you're seeing this happen more and more frequently. You especially saw this happening outside the ICE compound in Portland, where independent media would go to the event. And what was happening at that particular event was when the mainstream media was there, they would just be standing around outside dancing, and they would have their costumes on, and they would be frivolous, and they would be protesting, but they wouldn't be getting violent, right? After the media left, it was like Jekyll and Hyde. And the independent media would show up and record this, and the Antifa protesters in Portland would do everything in their power to try to intimidate these journalists and these content creators from reporting the facts, like physically trying to attack them. Because and this is something that I'm going to be bringing up again for 74, I suspect, is part of that reason is that, like, some point, I think it may have already happened, or it is or will happen soon, the advertising revenue for media content on social media is now, it's either has surpassed or is equal to the money that mainstream media is getting. So whether they like it or not, right, the advertisers have deemed that social media and the content creators on social media are as important as the guys on mainstream media. So they're not able to just go to MS Now or CNN or CB, area in Canada, CBC and CTV, and just have them provide the narrative, because they're not even necessarily the biggest players in the game anymore. And they're not going quietly, and they're losing the culture war, and they have been, to quote Kelso, of course they're not going to go, oh, well, we're losing now, I guess we're just going to pack up our bags and give up. No, they're not doing that, right? They're going to respond with, they're going to respond. And it's like, I mean, again, I'm going to go out on the record and say, like, at some point in the first 2 or 3 months, maybe even right out the gate in January, right, they're going to go after BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey and MGTOW TV, and they're going to go after all of these alt platforms and try to get them to either shut down or toe the line. For instance, MGTOW TV, and I found this out very recently. If you have some VPNs would have antivirus on them. Now, if you go to MGTOW TV, for instance, Nord, which is the one that I have, when I go to MGTOW TV, I have to tell Nord like the site has been rated as suspicious. No reason given, right? It's got the exact same, well, it's not the exact same, it's got video content, right? Like they don't attach viruses or anything to the video content. They're just like this, like Rumble right now, or Twitch is if you're listening to it, right? Or Kick, right? They're exactly the same thing. But what they're attempting to, what they picked MGTOW TV, and if you try to get to MGTOW TV right now, if you have some VPNs like I do, right, or some antivirus, it's all of a sudden the antivirus, you have to tell the antivirus that you're going to allow MGTOW TV to come up. No word of a lie on that. None. And so am I overly surprised that somebody went out and fired a gun on Tim Pool's compound? Well, once upon a time, Tim Pool was in New Jersey, which is just on the other side of Philadelphia. And the reason why he moved out to West Virginia was because there was an individual at one point that walked across the bridge and knocked on Tim Pool's door at 3:00 in the morning. Tim Pool called the cops, obviously. But I mean, the individual had really bad intent, which is why he moved, stopped. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I think we even covered that. And that's the reason why he moved out to West Virginia. Strangely enough, he's only like half a mile or something away from another YouTube content creator who he covered here, who had to run from his place because his new girlfriend, the one that he got because his old girlfriend divorced him and was caught doing adult content, Hunter Avalon, right? His ex, his new girlfriend's ex, stalked them to their place and Hunter Avalone and his girlfriend were forced to be on the outside, were forced to be in the backyard while the cops shot the guy, right? So it's not necessarily confined to just right wing commentators. By the way, Tim Pool has done a political compass test, right? Like he is on the political spectrum, left, right, libertarian, authoritarian. Tim Pool is seriously left wing, but he also just happens to be seriously libertarian at the same time, right? So Tim Pool is not right wing. Tim Pool is not a conservative, just like Candace Owens is not a conservative, technically speaking. Just like I'm not a conservative either in reality, right? So yeah, you're gonna start seeing this. You're gonna start seeing, and then again, right? It might get to the point where it's actually organized, where they're gonna go out and they're gonna try to intimidate these content producers into not making their content. Because I mean, I'm seeing this happen with increased frequency. I saw a case with that guy who wears that big hat on Rebel News. He was just basically standing in the park doing the story, and this soy boy came up and kept trying to interrupt him while he was just doing a commentary. Had nothing to do with him, right? And I'm seeing that happen more and more frequently. You don't see that happening to people on the left. Like you have left-wing commentators come into, like when they have this divided spaces, you see them coming up to quote unquote right-wing events, and it doesn't happen to them, right? You only see this happening. And it's like you try to do something on the street and some random individual comes up, and you're seeing that happen more and more frequently. Just like how, like when I've been doing those memes, response to those memes only really started coming out in a big way about a year ago, a year and a half, maybe tops. And, they're losing the culture war. They know they're losing the culture war. So, you get that first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they attack you. Well, we're now starting to see the beginning of the attack phase. We're probably going to see a much bigger conclusion. Who's tapping on their computer, by the way?
Not me.
Attack phase. Yeah, you're gonna see that ramp up significantly next year. And with that, I am going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, Tim Pool, I don't know. His net worth is somewhere around estimated 600,000 to 5 million. So who knows? I know that a net worth is just the money that you've made over your career. It's not the money that you have. So I'm hoping he's making enough money to pay those guards, and he wouldn't have to if he wasn't such a biggity biatch. Because he showed himself to be scared. I think he's had several incidences where somebody has either threatened him with a gun or shot at his place. It's not just these two events. It's happened a lot. So,
well, I mean, he used to do a lot of traveling, and what ended up happening is that he went to he went to Venezuela at one point, and somebody sent him a message on his Twitter account saying that there's people in Venezuela talking about killing you. And what they did the smart thing. You switched up hotels right away, and like without telling the guy at the front desk which hotel they were going to. And then like first thing in the morning, like 5 a.m, they got to the airport and they literally bought the first ticket out. He used to do a lot more like public events. Once his name he had a really weird time in when he went to Sweden at one point. And it was after the Swedish event that he basically just started staying in his compound and didn't travel around anymore because he was just too well known, right? So yeah, and then of course he moved his compound from out the outskirts of Philadelphia out to West Virginia when he had that weird guy show up at his door. And so yeah, there's rumors. I've heard stories, and this is something we'll be getting into next week. There's apparently rumor stories that he's going to be shutting down entirely, or he's going to be taking a break for a while here after this event.
He probably should, because he's shown himself to be scared. You don't show fear. So now he's showing, and you know, most of these shootings. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a leftist. Uh, I'm a bit of just anarcho-capitalist, as they say. Try to make my own money and do things my way. And so, for some reason, these leftists they don't want anybody to have guns, but they're the ones shooting up more people. I mean, even more than the conservatives. So, or at least shooting at as well, which is that's a headache in itself. But once you've shown fear and pushed to the point where you can't leave your compound, I mean, you put yourself in a position to be controlled. Uh, you're being controlled by your fear at that point. I would have never shown any kind of fear. As a matter of fact, I've shown up with my own gat. Somebody's shooting at my front door. I'm coming out the front door blazing like Malcolm X. I bet you it'll never happen again. So
I mean,
this is all
Nick Fuentes has had this happen to him as well. People randomly showing up at his door with guns, right?
He should be. Anyways, yeah. I mean, but and again, if you're gonna polarize yourself, you're gonna be making certain political statements out there. Yeah, you might want to diversify your information, your contact information. You should have some dummy information. You should have some switcher up information. You know, you should have all your stuff sent to your bodyguard, right? You should put your residence down at your bodyguards, so whenever they come for you, guess what? Your bodyguards can handle business. You know, there's just so many things that people do. It's just common sense. If you're going to play the game, know the rules and know what your plays are. These people just think that they can just do whatever they want because it's America. You know, free speech and da da da, and I think that people are going to respect that. Well, you're freaking naive. If you're going to step out in political, I mean, if Trump is getting shot at, what makes you think, you know, you're trash, you know, compared to a level of popularity? Come on. No, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to bat an eye if you get popped off, except for the people that hate you. So the risk and the reward is not balanced, especially when you're not playing the game right. Okay, everything's a game. Everything's warfare. Everything's business. Okay, you've got conflict that you've got to deal with, no matter what, and you need to be on the level, and on the level in which the game that you want to play. I mean, it's so simple. Him crying about somebody shooting at him, and he's making it worse. Every time he reports it, you know, somebody's going to want their 15 minutes of fame, right? Well, that's an easy one. This guy's little crying biatch. Well, well, we're definitely going to get some attention to this guy, and it's ridiculous. I would never, if I ever could be scared of anybody, I wouldn't show it. So, I don't know, maybe he's playing the sympathy card, you know, and trying to get moral support that he's soldiering on, but really, nobody cares. The only people that care are the people he's pissing off. So, he needs to probably quit while he's ahead. or yeah, I mean, he's going to have to waste more money to have a compound and guards because he's just so damn important in his own. And it could be people just screwing with him with a cat gun. Who the hell knows? That's again, that's something I would do. A cat gun. If this guy is such a coward, I would have fun with that. Just not on a level of being cruel, but it's just, I'm a prankster. I enjoy an awesome prank. All right, but it's ridiculous. You don't show your weakness. Every time he says something about him being shot at. That's the equivalent of him just rolling over onto his belly. I mean, I'm sorry, rolling onto his back and showing his belly and his throat. Oh, this is how you get this guy. Somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to succeed in doing it. I don't know anything about the guy's politics. I don't watch the guy. I'm not a fan of his. I don't follow anything of him. The only thing I know about him is things I hear from you. But he doesn't sound all that important to me. I mean, I don't know who would get a bigger turnout, this Kirk guy or Tim Pool. If Tim Pool got the gat, what do you think? Would you even hear it in the news?
That's a tough one. It would depend upon what the topic was about and what the audience was. Yeah, Tim Pool has a.
I mean, him getting shot. I mean, him being shot dead. I mean, is the news going to report on it? Is anybody here?
Yeah, I think with Tim Pool, absolutely it would.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
maybe not to the same degree that Charlie Kirk did, but yeah, Tim Pool was killed. Yeah, I think that would get noticed. Anyway, okay. Are you done? Because we got to get on to Rusin. Take it away.
It's not quite a game of, not quite the play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but when you go out on a limb like he does, and I commend him for it, there is something like this can happen. And for me, honestly, it's a case of, you are a public figure at this point. You make a point with no one making your location known and whatever else. So it's not something I would do, that's for sure. I've got other things in my life that I'm working on right now, and it's not I don't know. It just I got nothing to say. I mean, I really honestly don't. I don't listen to Tim's stuff anymore. I know that he's around, but I don't care anymore. I really don't. So, sorry for being anticlimactic on that one.
No, actually, because we're pushing 2.5 hours here, and I got a bunch of videos to go through, and then we got one more topic, so it's fine. All right, so one last fun video, and then I got a couple of comments on the last topic, a couple more videos on the last topic, which is the last topic being, the J6 pipe bomber. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Last one, AI privacy, and then a couple of videos. You could set yourself up for MS Now J6, but not right away here because this one is about a minute long, and then we go to MS Now J6. All right, so here we go.
Starting December 16th, Meta will start reading your DMs. Every conversation, every photo, every voice message fed into AI and used for profit. So here's how to stop it. Now, they make this intentionally difficult on purpose, and you can only do this on desktop. You cannot do this from the mobile app. So first, you're going to visit privacycenter.instagram.com, and it's going to take you to this page here. And what you want to do is you click on Other Policies and Articles, and you'll see where it says how Meta uses information for generative AI models and features. Click here, and the third option is privacy and generative AI. You open this, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see it says whether you use Meta products or not, anyone can submit requests related to their personal information from third parties being used to develop and improve AI at Meta. You click on Learn More and Submit Requests here, and this is the form that you want to submit. So you click this, fill out this information here, and send this, and this is how you submit to opt out of Meta using your information to improve their AI services.
All right, so now we're going to do MS Now J6, and then we got a long one from Megan Kelly, and then we get into the topic.
We're back with more breaking news on one of the biggest FBI breaks in the Bureau's recent history. MS Now has now learned the identity of the suspect arrested in the January 6th pipe bombing case. We've got our full panel to break this down, but let's get right to MS Now's Carol Lenig to start us off. Carol, what do we know about the suspect?
MS Now has reported and confirmed that Brian Cole, a young man from Woodridge, Virginia, is the suspect who was arrested this morning. When MS Now first broke this story, my colleague Ken Delanian and I earlier I don't know, I feel like all the hours run together, but it was somewhere around 8 o'clock in the morning. We didn't know the name of that person, but we have since confirmed it. And we're still now waiting to see what the FBI has learned about this person's motivations or what this person's reason was for planting these bombs that didn't detonate as it happens on January 6th, right outside the headquarters of the RNC and the DNC.
All right, and now a long one from Megan Kelly here. This one's about 9 minutes long.
Breaking news right now on a big story we just discussed on this program yesterday. A major arrest. Brian Cole of Virginia is now reportedly in custody for allegedly planting the pipe bombs outside of both the Democratic National Committee headquarters and the Republican National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. on the night of January 5th, 2021. Law enforcement activity was seen at what is believed to be his home. This morning, we are showing video here on our screen from Fox News, which just shows law enforcement and police tape outside of this home. The arrest comes nearly 5 years after the incident in a high-profile case that has befuddled law enforcement for years. But we don't understand why. We've never understood why this case was so seemingly impossible to crack. It's unclear what exact charges this Brian Cole faces. We're expecting an FBI press conference later this afternoon. We are told it could happen within the hour. We are monitoring it, and we'll bring it to you if and when it happens. Here, in the meantime, is the FBI previously explaining what happened when those bombs were placed that night.
The suspect's height is approximately 5'7" tall. The suspect wore a face mask, a gray hooded sweatshirt, and black gloves. They used a backpack to transport each of the devices. They were wearing distinctive Nike Air Max Speed Turf shoes, which are black and gray with the yellow Nike logo. Fewer than 25,000 of these shoes were sold between August 2018 and January 2021. The first time the suspect is seen is at approximately 7:34 p.m. at the intersection of 1st Street and North Carolina Avenue Southeast. This footage shows the suspect sitting on the DNC bench before placing the first bomb. Here we see the suspect place the bomb at approximately 7:54 p.m. They placed the second pipe bomb at approximately 8:16 p.m. The suspect then turns back onto Rumsey Court, walking east until the person is last seen on camera at approximately 8:18 p.m., wearing the backpack on their shoulders. The bomb is believed to have been placed shortly before this video, based on how the suspect is carrying the backpack.
According to the New York Times, the break in the case was not thanks to a new tip or any additional information. I mean, that's remarkable. What they're reporting is that they discovered a new lead within the FBI after reviewing previously compiled investigative files. As the new leadership team there, FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, have made solving this case a priority. Dan Bongino, when he was a podcast host, had said for a long, long time that he believed this case was solvable. He also theorized that it might be an inside job by law enforcement, but he'd long been saying this is solvable and had been asking questions about why it hadn't been solved. And now here they are 6 months in power and appearing to have solved it. This is, let's see, from the Washington Post this morning. They give some background saying more about how this is not based on a new breakthrough, but that they've been, the FBI sources have been going through the voluminous trove of material, largely collected in 2021 and 2022. They write the suspect's arrest is expected to cause significant embarrassment for the Bureau and the enormous team it assigned to the pipe bomb investigation, the two sources said. Not meaning Kash and Dan's team, meaning the team that was there under previous leadership, saying the suspect could have been arrested years ago if investigators had earlier connected the dots they already had in hand. This is the Washington Post writing, quote, "This development could also be seen as vindication of Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, who has long focused on the pipe bomb case and has urged the Bureau to redouble its efforts to solve it when he took efforts." Wow, that must have been hard for you to write, Carol Lenning. Let's see. The timing of the arrest comes as Kash Patel's under fire. The suspect placed the pipe bombs the night before January 6th. They were discovered 15 hours later on the day of January 6th. This is one of the largest cases in the Bureau's history. The FBI subpoenaed box store retailers for credit card transaction data to obtain the identities of people who bought the kind of battery connectors they thought were used in the bombs. They were actual bombs. Agents then compared the list of purchasers to the owners of phones located near the DNC and RNC party headquarters around the time of the explosives being planted. They concluded that there was no match. They focused on the clothing of the bomber. They believe they identified the shoe, as you heard in that little soundbite we played. Agents filed subpoenas for credit card receipts from shoe sellers like Foot Locker and others, obtaining a list of about 1,200 sneaker sales. They then compared the credit cards used to those used purchasing bomb components. That's actually good police work from the sound of it. In January, the Bureau released new video of the unidentified suspect. And at that time, they said they'd visited more than 1,200 residences and businesses, conducted more than 1,000 interviews, reviewed approximately 39,000 video files, and assessed more than 600 tips about who may have placed the bombs. Okay, and then they go on from there. It's long been a target of scrutiny by House Republicans who accuse the FBI and Justice Department of failing to investigate it thoroughly. Just to be clear, I just want to, now this is posted, does Carol Lenning still write for WAPO? She's co-authoring this piece with Ken Delaney and under MS Now. So just to be clear, she's with MS Now. Okay, but she was a longtime Washington Post writer. In any event, so that was MS Now that I was quoting from, not WAPO. Forgive me for that. But here's what's interesting about this case, among other things. Since the beginning, the left has been trying to paint this as a Trumper, as a guy who is connected with the J6 riots, that the J6ers meant to sow chaos, and that this was some sort of, Jimmy Kimmel style, some MAGA guy who wanted to unleash hell on Washington, D.C., when MAGA wasn't getting its way on Trump winning. This is back in 2020. And this is unconfirmed, but it was reported by NBC today that this guy may have had links, this guy under arrest now, this Brian Cox, may have arrests. Brian Cole. I said that this morning. Brian Cox is the guest we had on our show 2 days ago talking about the military strike down off our southern border. I almost fell out of my chair when I actually made that mistake in my head. Like, oh my God, what? Sorry, it's not Brian Cox. It's Brian Cole, who's under arrest. Not related to our guest the other day at all. My apologies, Brian. And unconfirmed, we'll find out more, but MSNBC or NBC actually reporting today that there is a suspected link between this guy and Antifa. Now that would be very interesting. Hold your fire on that, because that's only one outlet, and we expect to hear directly from the FBI shortly on whether or not that's true.
Ever read the label on a typical bag of chips? It's often a science experiment of seed oils, MSG, artificial dyes, and mystery ingredients. Masa is part of the growing movement to bring back real food. Masa chips contain just 3 ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. Not only do these chips avoid the bad stuff, they also taste delicious, too. Snacking on Masa chips is nothing like eating regular chips. With Masa, you feel
Okay,
satisfied,
I think we
light,
don't need to
energetic,
yeah,
no
all right.
crash,
We
and no
can
bloat. And if you love
we
Masa,
can leave
then you
this.
will love
We can
There.
drop that. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, I will now show you the photo of the vicious, nasty, clearly a member of the KKK, black hating Brian Cole. Yeah, you could tell just from the look of him that this guy's a total white supremacist and a long member of the KKK, probably a neo-Nazi to boot. Just looks so angry in this photo too, but here he is. Yeah, just get ready to be shocked. Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, totally a MAGA guy. Yeah, totally a white supremacist. Yep. Because that's what the left was saying around the time of J6. Am I surprised that it's a guy like him? Well, I reported on this something like this about that police officer that may have allegedly been doing this, and I mean, I can't remember whether I said it looked like she was guilty or not, but there was very, very clearly some pressure coming down the pipes around this. The FBI team that had been initially charged with making doing the investigation on this quite clearly were being interfered with, which kind of like raises questions. I'm not able really to get a lot of information about Brian Cole. There was even some rumor floating around, which I was checking up on Google when you guys told me that he was, which is why it went over to that commercial. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense around this. It's very, very clear that there was a lot of shenanigans going on around J6. They tried. Bolsonaro right now is sitting in jail in Brazil he's been accused of doing pretty much the same sort of thing that Trump was doing, that Trump didn't do, obviously, on January the 6th. So this is not, they've been pulling from this playbook before. And the whole issue around this is the simple fact that, again, without a whole lot of information about Brian Cole, but again, right, there was they did really push the whole white supremacy angle on January the 6th. Like they did. Even though, like we had not Kelso, what was his name? Henrik with Scooby was at the event, and immediately in front of them were a bunch of patriotic Vietnamese waving around the old Vietnamese flag. So yeah, so much for the whole white supremacy thing. Hold on a second. So yeah, there was definitely pressure on the FBI to get some kind of an arrest going on this one. Don't really know for sure what took them so long, but then again, I got to point out that Ray Epps is still, he got charged and whatnot, but he never really, there was not a big, huge deal when they went after Ray Epps, and Ray Epps has definitely got some suspicious stuff about him. Yeah, I'm just gonna check this put this one down to the fact that, and this is again, right? I'm gonna go out on the record and say this for next year. You're gonna see a lot of stuff come out around the J6 event next year. Because like there's a possibility, at least at this point, that they might not have that the Republicans might not have control of the House next year, and which means that Trump is going to be kind of hamstringed in terms of what he's going to be able to do. So yeah, it's going to be a rather interesting. It's going to be a rather interesting year next year. But I mean, again, right? Am I surprised? I mean, again, right? The reason why I keep mockingly saying white supremacists or whatever is because people on the left were saying, "Oh, well, there was nothing but white supremacists at the J6 event, and it was like white supremacists did this and white supremacists did that," and it's like, oh, well, you know what? Guess what? No, that's not the case at all, right? Just take a look at that guy. And yeah, we're hitting 3 hours here, so I'm going to turn this over to V, and then we can have Rearson wrap it up.
Yeah, well, I hope Rifson doesn't wrap it up in his gifts here. So the ideology here, okay, and yes, the left is always screaming that the right did it, and the right is usually trying to look for clues as to if it's a liberal or not, and if not, they shut the hell up. So, but if you look at the ideology, the reason why, this is my opinion, the reason why the left does more of these shootings and do more of these attacks, I mean, look at the ideology. The lefts, they want change. They want radical change. Okay? They want change by any means necessary. That means performing radical acts, and because these things can bring about radical change. Conservatives, well, they conserve, right? They want to keep as much things as the status quo as humanly possible. That means locking everybody down and oppressing everybody. So you can kind of see how it matches with the ideology. Now, with the I like this guy's approach, actually, and I'm going to say I'm glad he did what he did, simply because no one got hurt. No one got hurt, but he made his point. So I'm glad he did what he did. I like his bipartisan approach. Reaching across the aisles there. I know I'm morbid. And, you know, he's not a MAGA. He's not a liberal. This is just like a black man who's oppressed by the system. For the fact that he put the bomb in both political parties, he just hates the government. That's just a sign of an oppressed black man. All right, he's mad because he didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on him. All right. Let's kick the ballistics. No, no, I'm not even gonna do jack on you guys. But and the simple fact that it took so many years, 5 years to catch this guy. Surveillance is everywhere. I can't make a comment about a product without seeing it on my phone. Okay, I can't pick a product up off the shelf at a grocery store, look at it, put it down, and then not see a bunch of ads about that one product when I get back home on the internet. Facial recognition software, these grocery stores use it, and it immediately goes to a database. People don't understand how well they're being surveyed. So this tells me that they had a political situation, probably someone whom they goaded and harassed to the point, yeah, they turn him into someone who wants to make that radical change. But he didn't do it like they wanted to, and it fell apart. So they probably had a situation in their hands. Which, okay, how do we clean this up? How do we spin this? How do we contain this? How do we spin this? How do we use this for our advantage, anyways? And they've had so much time to try to figure it out. Okay, and that's the simple and plain of it, if you ask me. And I hope they're not getting. And this whole terrorism thing. People need to stop this whole thing. Okay, listen. A terrorist is someone who rules a population through fear. Okay, someone who goes and puts a bomb, straps a bomb to themselves, and Allah Akbar's. That's not a terrorist. Who's he ruling? He's dead. Okay, you can't. And the government wants to use these words, to create these trigger words to mind control the population. A terrorist is somebody who gets into power and threatens to cut off services, or threatens to throw you in jail, or threatens to deport you because he can and he has power and he knows he's going to screw with your head. That's a terrorist by definition. Go look it up. So I want people to keep that in mind when they look at the stuff on the media, the sensationalism through the actions of some radical individual. Just I would say, look, take these things with a grain of salt. Uh, and don't be inside the box. Keep looking at it from outside the box, and you'll be safe. You'll be knowledgeable, and just don't buy into the craze. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if he was a target individual. I don't know if he was a Manchurian candidate. I don't know how this man fits into the government psyops, but it looks to me like a failed psyop. So, just keeping it short here. Yeah. So, wrap it up, Pearson. Put some lube on it first.
To be honest with you, I completely forgot all about the J6 bomb scares. And yeah, I completely agree. Well, not completely agree, but I agree with enough of what you said, V, that he believes in equality. He believes in screwing both sides of the of the political spectrum.
Yeah, equality. There we go.
Yeah, but he's an equal opportunity bomber. That's what he is, pipe bomber.
Let's get right into it. That's better than the Unabomber.
So for me, honestly, it's a case of whatever. Like, as I said, I mean, I'd forgotten all about this because there are issues that I'm seeing going on that are much more important. Not to say that, excuse me, not to say this isn't, because it does need to be addressed and hopefully deterred in the future. But that's supporting a system and structure in place that's inherently flawed and protects only certain individuals, and well, who, in my opinion, are a whole part of the problem. But that's on both sides of the political spectrum. So, what'll happen from all of this? Well, maybe this will help the Trump administration in the upcoming midterms.
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
We'll see. It's things like this that make me wonder. With one of the other topics we had tonight, I forget which one it was. Doesn't matter. Of how much is being held back for political. Oh, with the whole thing with Ilhan Omar and whatever else going with Tim Walz. That's what it was. But how many of these things that are going on now could have been done sooner? But it was a case of just sit on this and wait. And if we need to make it public, we will. Or it'll proceed at that point. So, don't know. And honestly, pardon me, I really honestly don't care because I'm getting fucking tired. So I just want to wrap this up and go. So, Naroki, that's your cue.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap this up as well.
The gimp suit's a calling.
What?
No, it's
the gimp
not.
suit is a calling.
No, it's not. My bed is a calling.
All right. Oh, well, but first of all, though, just to celebrate the fact that Rearson took the show out.
Why am I not surprised?
Welcome back, Rearson.
No, I don't think I'll be on tomorrow. I got things I got to do.
I'm fully capable of doing well, we'll see who's available for tomorrow.
Yep.
I haven't set a time for it. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, the banner is down below because I totally forgot to shamelessly show myself at the start of the show.
Sure.
I shamelessly show myself at the start of the show. Yep. So that I'm now shamelessly shilling myself at the show. Now with the Red Pill Nation at Patreon. Yep, that is it for tonight, folks. I'm ready. I gotta step out. It's 14 below and wind blowing like hell up there, so it's probably got a nice high wind chill factor, low wind chill factor. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm pretty sure, well, I mean, every time I do this show, I keep wondering if we're ever going to get the chance to post this up at YouTube. YouTube has started doing some really like skivvy shit. Like they're not allowing me to use thumbnails on my uploads anymore. Like, yeah, go figure, right? I really don't give a shit what YouTube does. Keep in mind, though, I'm up to 100 subs there.
You have to switch your browser. I would recommend rotating your browsers quite often, dealing with YouTube and other platforms like this.
Yeah, because I mean, it was like, because they just keep, like I cannot load up I could not load up the thumbnail for my most recent video, which was for my most recent set of uploads, which was just a bunch of Sunrise Hoodie content, but still, I got to the 10th video and I tried to upload the and I'm like, why, to what end does it benefit you to prevent me from using a thumbnail? Like, what's the payoff for that? Like, explain that one to me. But again,
you probably have some corrupt cookies. You need to switch your browser.
All right, well, then I'll switch out the browser. But that is it for tonight, folks. We will, well, I don't know what time tomorrow. It might be tomorrow afternoon. It might be tomorrow evening. I haven't figured it out yet. But yeah, women behaving badly. That would probably be the theme for that episode. So sad that you're not going to be here for that one, Rearson. But that is it for tonight. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you all on the next one.